Let's assume that we have an organization that hosts website for our customers. We have given them the authority to create virtual machines so that they can host their websites. But we want to restrict them from deploying high configuration VMs, or we want them to deploy the machine in certain region. This can be achieved using Azure Policies. Azure Policy is a service in Azure that we use to create, assign, and manage policies. These policies enforce different rules over your resources, so those resources stay compliant with the corporate standards and service level agreements. There are some advantages of Azure Policy. We can turn on built-in policies, or we can build custom ones for all the resource types. We can apply policies at scale. We can apply policies to a management group with control across the entire organization. We can apply multiple policies and aggregate policy states with policy initiative. We can define an exclusion scope. We can have real-time remediation and remediation on existing resource. To apply policy, we'll have to create a policy definitions. We'll then initiate the definitions. We can select the scope, and then we can even evaluate whether they are compliant or not. Let's see in the portal how can we create an Azure policy and apply it to a scope. Let's see how can we apply policies to resource group, or you can even apply policies to management groups or subscription level. I will be assigning it to the resource group. So let's quickly create a virtual machine and a new resource group, and we will deploying that virtual machine in East US region, and later we will be restricting users from deploying any virtual machine in East US region. So let's quickly create a virtual machine. I'll be going with Ubuntu server, so that will be quick as compared to the Windows one. I'll be creating a new resource group. Let's say test. Let's give it a name. Let's give virtual machine a name. And instead of Central India, let's select East US. I don't want 8 GB machine. Let's go for 1 GB. And instead of public key, I'll be using username and password. And you should allow SSH port 22, and I'll just click on review plus create. So it will first validate. Once the validation is passed, we can create the resource. So let's click on create. As you can see, the deployment is in progress. I'll pause this video. Once it is deployed, we'll be back. Yes guys, as you can see, the deployment is completed. I can go to the resource and we can have a quick look that the resource is deployed. The virtual machine name is test. The status is running and the location is East US. Now I'll be applying a policy to this resource group test and restrict users to deploy virtual machine in the region other than India. So let's click on the resource group test. From here you can click on policies. From policies you can just click on assignments and you can assign your own policy. Let's click on assign policy. From here, see, this is the scope. This is my subscription name, MSTN platform, and I am applying policy to test. If I'll remove test from here, it will be applied to whole subscription. I don't want that. I just want to apply the policy to the resource group. So let's click on policy definition ellipse, and here we will search for allowed location. So this is the policy. This policy enables you to restrict the locations your organization can specify when deploying resources. So I'll be selecting this policy, and I can give the description. The policy enforcement is enabled assigned by my email ID. And next, you can give the parameters. Since you can see, you can tell the policy what locations are allowed. So I'll just quickly search India and I'll select Central India. So only Central India will be allowed. Other than Central India will be denied. So the policy is created and it is assigned. Now let's again try and create a virtual machine, the same virtual machine in East US. So I'll go to Home, I'll create a resource, Ubuntu server, same resource group. This time virtual machine name will be test2, location will be East US, and let's see whether this time the portal allows us to deploy the virtual machine or not. Let me quickly review and create. See, this time it didn't let me deploy the virtual machine. You can even click here and check why it was denied. Resource test IP was disallowed by policy. So there's a policy in force which is disallowing this from deploying. So I hope this has been informative for you guys. Thank you for watching.